Welcome everybody to our webinar today. We are extremely excited about this topic because the work that we've been doing leading up to this webinar by adding new functionalities to the Soapbox Engage platform has been a lot of work, and it's all, we feel, extremely timely given what we're facing as a community these days. What we're going to be talking about is virtual activity fundraising with the Soapbox Engage donations app. Just by way of introduction, my name is Tim Forbes. I'm VP of Products and Marketing over here at PicNet, which means I've had the pleasure of getting my hands dirty with our engineers for a while as we've built out the new stuff that we're going to be featuring today. Soapbox Engage, just as a way to give context to what we're going to be walking through, is a suite of apps that are all designed to help your organization raise more money and change the world. Sounds lofty, but that's what we're here for. That's why we show up to work every day, is to support you in your mission as you seek to do good in the world. The apps that we have as part of the Soapbox Engage suite are many. Those include the Donations app, which we are going to be focusing wholeheartedly on today. The Events app, which allows you to get online registrations for your events. That just recently had a very timely update itself because now it integrates with the Zoom virtual meeting platform. So if you're interested in that, you may want to go to soapboxengage.com and check out a trial of Soapbox events. We have our Classes app, which is really events on steroids that allows you to offer a full course catalog with instructors and locations and semesters and a whole host of other things related to a full class schedule. We've got our Forms app, which allows you to create web forms through clicks, not code, that push data to Salesforce. We've got our Directories app, which is really the exact opposite of the Forms app. It allows you to easily create directories that pull data from Salesforce and display it on a website. We've got our Shop e-commerce solution. We've got our twin online advocacy tools of petitions and then actions. Actions being similar to signing a petition, except it actually sends an email to an intended target, be it an elected official or a custom target. We have website portals that allow users to come to your Soapbox Engage site, log in, and have an entirely personalized web experience. We have Soapbox Mailer, which is an entirely Salesforce native app that allows you to send mass emails from your Salesforce account. And finally, if all of this is not enough for you and you want to have your entire website on Soapbox, we do have a full content management system that runs alongside of all of these apps that you can make use of. That is the full breadth and depth of what the Soapbox Engage platform is and does. What we are going to focus on is just that donations portion of it, and not just the donations portion of it, but our latest and greatest addition to the donations app, which is our virtual fundraising. Virtual fundraising is all about making it possible so you as an organization can take what would have been an in-person bike-a-thon, walk-a-thon, fish-a-thon, whatever it is that you're trying to gather a bunch of people together to do on your behalf to raise money. That, in a COVID pandemic world, ain't happening anymore. So what this new functionality is all about is allowing you the tools, granting you the tools to be able to take that same end goal, that same desire to have a bunch of people who are passionate supporters who want to get together and do something and make that happen virtually online. The way that happens and the range of possibilities that you can use to make that happen is quite astonishing. We're going to touch on just a few, just a handful of possibilities with the activity fundraising. But this is really just to whet your appetite, because in many ways, the sky's the limit in terms of how you want to roll things out. So we have just a number of initial examples. Here we have our first example. This is maybe more traditional. We've got a sample page here for a 2020 5K fun run. If we take a look at a fundraising page that was set up by our mascot here, Phil Penguin, you can see the header image here for the campaign. You can see the avatar for Phil. Phil had come to this site. He had gone to the 5K fun run page. He had clicked fundraiser and create fundraiser, and he'd gone through the steps that we'll see later on to create this fundraising page. And here we see a couple of things right off the top. We see not only his personalized information for his avatar and his name, but we see progress. We see progress towards both his fundraising goal of $500 and his activity goal. In this case, this particular virtual activity fundraiser is set as a 5K run, as the name implies. So here we have 5K listed, and Phil's been knocking it out already. He's already gone 11.25 kilometers. So he's finished his activity goal and is working on his fundraising goal. If we scroll down here further, we see other elements on the page. We get to see Phil's story. This is personalized content that Phil decided to share with those who are coming to his page so that he can explain why he's doing this activity and why he thinks you should donate to this organization. And we also have the specific updates, the specific instances where he was running on this fun run that now total this this progress here at the top. In addition to his story and the updates towards his progress, we can see the donors that have given off to the side here. We can see a link back to the main campaign page and then the donate page itself. We've also got a donate button here off to the side that you can easily click on to jump immediately down to the form so you can get to the business of donating. So here is an example of, as mentioned, a 5K fun run. We've also got just a number of other options for how you can choose to define the different activities. This, it feels very active. I just have to warn you, he's going to have several fundraising pages that he created because he loves this organization. The second fundraising activity page that you'll see here, Phil's 20K in 10 days. Within the activity fundraising option, not only do you have the ability to choose the distance that folks will be covering or targeting, you can also decide whether or not that activity should be time bound. So in this case, this particular virtual fundraising activity is set to just allow activities from September 1st through September 10th, so 10 days, and the goal for everyone here is set to 20 kilometers. Within those different goals for distance, you can choose either kilometer or miles, and as an admin within Soapbox, you can choose to either allow the individual fundraisers to customize their own goal, so you set what is essentially a default of, in this case, 20 kilometers, but allow them to alter that so that they can say 50K or 1K. Or you can opt in situations like this, where it's a set number of kilometers that we're targeting. You can have it so that everybody has the same goal and they cannot change that goal. In addition to distance, either in miles or kilometers, you can also choose to have a time goal. So rather than the distance, we can focus on something that is time-based. And in this case, that allows us to open up what kinds of activities folks could engage in. This one is our Zen for 10 activity fundraiser. This is a yoga challenge of 10 hours. And once again, Phil has been very, very active, very, very supportive. And he has as his goal 10 hours of yoga that he will be doing, of which he has done 30 minutes. So we see 5% of the way through. You may have noticed that the activity section here has a different icon that's displayed. We'll see more about that later, but what essentially it's allowing you to do is customize that. So if it's a particular type of activity that can be represented in a single icon that you're allowing for this activity fundraiser, you can choose, like we've done here, to see this little running dude. For other instances, it may be more beneficial or more appropriate to have a general icon like the heart here that represents a number of different activities or activities that don't have a specific icon associated with them, like yoga. So once again, we see the My Story, what Phil has shared here about why he's doing this, and then the individual updates where you can see this was afternoon yoga on August 19th. And again, much like Phil is a super champion when it comes to the activity fundraisers that he's doing, you may have noticed that Mickey Mouse is an active contributor. So we see Mickey listed here as a donor, Mickey listed here as a donor. Just as a word of explanation, it is possible for folks when they donate to designate themselves as anonymous. And if that happens, their donation will appear here, but their name will simply be anonymous. So we've had 3 different activity fundraisers that we've peeked at so far, all with Phil accepting the challenge of this organization, whether it be yoga or the 20K in 10 days or the 5K fun run. The last one we've got here is Phil's Run, Ride, or Roll. This is just an example of the variety of activities that folks can engage in, and that you as an administrator could choose to have as allowable activities for a given activity fundraiser. In this case, this particular fundraiser allows for virtual rides, virtual runs, real life running on the road or track or what have you, real life riding on a road or track or what have you, or riding in a wheelchair. We have that listed down here specifically with Phil hopping in his wheelchair on the 20th and then having a ride on a bike on the 17th. And again, all of this information is totaled up so you can see his 50-mile target and the fact that he is 26% of the way through to achieving that target. Now we're going to get into the nuts and bolts here in a moment to talk through how all of this activity gets tracked and how you can set up various pieces of a given activity fundraiser. But I do want to take a step back just for a moment to talk about some of the overall context of what the activity fundraiser is working in. The activity fundraisers are all extensions of our peer-to-peer fundraising offering, and all of our peer-to-peer fundraising offerings are extensions of our base donation app. What does that mean? Why is that important? What that means is within just the base donation app experience for you as an administrator, you can create an unlimited number of donation pages so that they can be time bound or targeted toward a particular group of people or targeted towards a very, very specific cause. It can be your main donation page. It can be a donation page that you have just for Giving Tuesday. It can be any number of things, but you can create an unlimited number of those. Just like you can create an unlimited number of donation pages in general, so too can an unlimited number of those donation pages be made peer-to-peer fundraising pages, and an unlimited number of those peer-to-peer fundraising pages can become activity fundraising pages. It's all as simple as just turning on a toggle so that the peer-to-peer experience is activated and then the activity fundraiser portion is activated. So your activity fundraising can be as wide and varied and numerous as you want. You can have individual campaigns that run each week for the entire year. You can have any number simultaneous that could be targeting different specific geographic communities or groups of people, groups of supporters. It's totally up to you. Many folks are going to have just one campaign at a time and focus on that for a long stretch of time. But that's only your decision. You can decide to do that, or you could choose to leverage the unlimited capacity of the Soapbox Donations app to create new campaigns. In addition, because the virtual fundraising experience is an extension of peer-to-peer fundraising, which is an extension of the Donations app at large, you're able to do a bunch of different things to customize the donor experience, from creating custom predefined donation amounts to deciding on a given default amount. You can show one time and recurring, just one time, just recurring. There are a number of ways that you can display that information. You can add custom questions to the form. You can rearrange the sections of the form to suit your needs. There's a whole host of options that you've got because the virtual activity fundraising is part of the overall donation experience. In addition, you do have the ability to have data pushed to Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics to record those donations that are made for a given donation page in those systems. So you're able to capture that information in your constituent relationship management tool. To walk through some other elements here, so we mentioned that the activity fundraiser is an extension of peer-to-peer. This is an example of a peer-to-peer fundraising page that is not an activity fundraiser. We see here that within a given peer-to-peer fundraising experience, you can have either just individual fundraising pages that you can search for, link through to, or you can enable teams as part of the peer-to-peer fundraising experience and therefore as part of the activity fundraising experience so that folks can group themselves into cohorts and raise money on your behalf. If we click through here, we'll see an example of a team. This team has happened to add a video to their page, as well as some Latin text that I'm sure compels you to donate or become a team member. And then we can see the list of team member cards here down at the bottom so that we can click through to the individual pages to get more detail. All of that is the exact same in terms of options that you have for extending the peer-to-peer experience into the virtual activity fundraising space. To give you just a taste of the front-end user experience, to create a fundraising page or create a team, it requires just a couple of clicks. And one of the ways that we make that even speedier for folks is when you choose to create a new fundraising page or create a team, you're given the option of either creating an account just with the Soapbox Engage site directly, or if you want, you can choose to sign in with your Google account. I happen to have a few, and if we go through, actually, this is the trouble with doing a live demo. If we go ahead and authenticate using our Google account, we'll be presented with a create donation page form that we can customize defaults that the administrator has established, and then click create to be off and running with our new donation page. Same thing is true of creating a team. Now, we mentioned that we were going to touch on how the activities get recorded in Soapbox for a given fundraiser. All of that magic happens through integration with Strava. Strava is an activity tracking service that is used by millions and millions and millions of people all over the United States and the world. It is free to use and allows you to record activities in a number of different ways. Here, what we're seeing is Phil Penguin, our intrepid fundraiser, his activity list in Strava. So you may notice that a number of these that we see here are the exact same ones that we saw on our fundraising page here. So here's the afternoon wheelchair push. So what's happening is the activity gets recorded in Strava, and then Strava notifies Soapbox that this activity has happened. Soapbox records that in the fundraising page that is appropriate, and then increases the total in terms of the goal metric. Now, the way you get activities recorded in Strava are essentially three different avenues. One is you can, if you've got the Strava app on your phone, let's say, you can simply record an activity. So if you're going to go for a run, if you're going to go for a bike ride outside, you can go ahead, have your phone, turn Strava on, record that activity. Once you finish that activity, it will save to Strava, and then Strava will push that to Soapbox. You can also simply go ahead and add manual entry. And once you do that, you'll be given a form here where you can enter that activity manually. Same process happens. This gets saved to Strava, and then that activity gets sent to Soapbox and recorded for an appropriate fundraiser. The last way that data can get added as activities to Strava and pushed to Soapbox would be through any of the other services with which Strava integrates. So as an example, if you have access to a Peloton, you can hook your Peloton up to your Strava account. You can hop on your Peloton first thing in the morning. You can go for a ride. Once you finish that workout, that information will be sent to Strava. Strava will record it in its service and then send it to Soapbox. All with you not needing to do a thing other than set things up initially. So that is how the magic happens for recording those various activities. As an individual fundraiser, you've got an ability to go ahead and manage a number of elements of that process to determine what shows up or what doesn't show up on your fundraising page within the bounds of what the administrator has set. So we're going to go ahead and log in again this time on, whoops, we want to log in. We don't want to create an account. So we'll once again look to sign in with our Google accounts. Once that's done, you'll notice a change to the user experience. As a logged in user, not only do we still have the donate and share buttons off to the side, and share, if we click on that, allows us to go ahead and post a link and some detail of this fundraising page to Facebook or Twitter, or copy that link to share in an email. We also have the ability to edit the page that we're looking at and manage activity tracker. So if we were to edit the page, we see these various elements here. So we can change the title, we can update the appeal, we can change the goal, we can change our link, alter the photo, And if the administrator has given us access to it, we can change our activity goal. So in this case, if we decided, oh, you know what, I'm really not going to be up for going 50 miles, I'll go ahead and change that to 35. Or I'm really feeling it, I think I can go further, let's go ahead and change it to 75 miles. That is all up to you, and you can change that, or your fundraisers can change that even after they've created their fundraising page. In addition, for the manage connections, here we're able to do a number of things. We can disconnect from our Strava account if we've just decided, I've had it, I'm not going to do this anymore. Or we can select the various admin chosen activity options that are eligible for this fundraiser. We can decide which ones we want to get from our Strava account and post to our fundraising page. Maybe we don't want a given activity that we are engaging in and recording in Strava sent to Soapbox and showing up on our page. We can go ahead and alter things here as we wish. In terms of connecting to Strava, that's just an easy couple click process when someone first creates their fundraising page so that they can establish that connection with Strava and then choose the activities that they want to record here. Now, in terms of the admin experience, if we go into the administrator and we look at our donation pages that we've created, we've got a mix of a variety of different kinds of pages, from our organization-wide main donation page to membership dues payment forms to basic peer-to-peer fundraising pages to these activity pages, the activity fundraisers that we've been talking about. And if we look at one of those, this happens to be our 2025K fund run, we see a number of elements that are key to the activity fundraising experience. One of those is choosing whether or not we are going to have this as an activity fundraiser, which integrates with Strava. And beyond that, which types of activities in Strava will connect with this particular fundraiser. As you can see here in the box that we're excluding, there's a ton of different options. So if you wanted to have a stand-up paddling virtual activity fundraiser, you can do that, or weight training, or velomobile, or Nordic skiing, or kite surfing. There's a ton of different options available within Strava, and therefore available for your virtual fundraising activity, virtual activity fundraiser. In this particular case, it's a fun run. We've just chosen the two options of run and virtual run. So we're allowing folks to go ahead and lace up their shoes and run through their neighborhood or on a track or trail, or to have some virtual run experience just on a treadmill or some other device. But that can be really as many different kinds of activities as we want. For the fundraiser tab here, we are able to set a number of different defaults for what happens when somebody creates a fundraising page. That comes down to the title of their page, their appeal, their fundraising goal, their photo, any number of different elements to make it easy for folks to easily and quickly create a fundraising page, while also allowing them the flexibility to craft the experience, the appeal, the text to match their purpose for doing this fundraiser. We've got various elements here that we can set for the parent campaign itself. That includes what's your overall fundraising goal. In this case, we've decided to make it 10 grand. Maybe we want to be more modest, say 1,000. Maybe we're going to shoot for the moon and look to raise $100,000 over the course of a given month. That's entirely up to you, as well as a number of parameters for how the information about teams and fundraisers show up. Are you going to show team name and team logo, team photo, team name? There's a number of different options that make it very easy to customize the overall experience for your fundraiser to match exactly what you're after. In terms of the fundraising activity itself, down here at the bottom is where we get to decide a number of those key elements. The first one is this activity going to be measured by distance or by time? If distance, are we going to say, is it miles or is it kilometers? What's the default distance activity goal? And then is this going to be set same for everybody who does this, or is it going to be customizable per participant? Same options really are here with the time for the unit measured, with just the ability to set whether or not it's what number of hours, minutes, or even seconds you want to use, and then if it's the same for all participants or custom per participant. And then the last item here is the activity icon, which allows you to set what that icon is that appears at the top of a fundraising page, where you show the progress towards a given goal. So all of those things are at your disposal when creating your activity fundraiser so that you get the results that you're looking for to have an engaging experience for both your fundraisers, your team captains, and for your donors, so that we can encourage people to put their passion for your mission to work and to raise money on your behalf. That is it for our virtual activity fundraising with the Soapbox Engage donations app. If you are interested in learning more about this, or potentially signing up for the donations app or the peer-to-peer fundraising add-on with virtual activity fundraising, feel free to reach out to us either through a ticket at support.picnet.net, or you can go to soapboxengage.com and request a trial. We'll be happy to follow up with you. And we're very excited to have the possibility of being co-conspirators with you as you seek to fulfill your nonprofit's mission. Thanks so much for joining us with this webinar, and happy soapboxing.